Final score predictions. I don't like mine at all. I got Michigan winning 31-25. I flip-flopped a couple times early on in the week. I have settled on the fact that I think Michigan's the better team. I think they've been the better team all year. I think people are overreacting a little bit to the Maryland game. It's obviously going to be a big blow not to have Jim Harbaugh on this game, and he frankly should be on the field for this game. The fact that he was suspended by the Big Ten remains absurd objectively, and I think anyone who really understands the situation and has dove into it knows that. So that's going to have an impact. I still think this Michigan team, behind this crowd and behind the better quarterback, are going to be able to get it done. But it's a toss-up type of game. I don't love that I also picked the over with my score prediction. That just kind of happened en natural. But I just don't really love this pick. But that's what I'm going with.
Well, I'm not going to be on an island again this year. I was the only person that believed last year, and
which is scary because Michigan fans probably are hoping I pick Ohio State based on the last 2 years.
I'll say this: I didn't go with my gut in 2021. I went with my gut last year. It served me well. I'm going to go with my gut again. I have Michigan winning this football game. I think it's going to be low scoring. I would pick the under if I was someone that was betting it. I have them winning 26-17. And obviously probably pulling away a little bit late. I do think this is going to be a fight throughout. But for me, I just think that, so much has been made about, Michigan did this and Michigan's accused of that. And, this adds X amount of points to the board. Well, I think the most tangible competitive disadvantage Michigan could have going into this game is that Jim Harbaugh won't be out there. But I can't quantify it. Anyone who says they can quantify it is lying. But Jim Harbaugh was out there the last 2 years. Michigan won in blowout fashion the last 2 years. So, okay, I'll take 10 points off the board or whatever. I still think Michigan wins. I think they're the better football team. I think when push comes to shove, they're going to be the more physical football team. And that's going to be the difference. So it's going to be a fight, though. And this is as much of a coin flip as the last two have been coming into them. But I think this one it's easy to say in hindsight. I don't think this is going to be a blowout either way. I think it's going to be one of those meat grinder type of games.
I agree with that. Let's finish with No Man Knows the Future, last one of the regular season. We'll pick 3 games. There's a lot of football on. There will probably be some good games Friday, Saturday. We obviously have the Lions on Thursday as well, as you have that turkey dinner. But not a ton of sexy matchups, I guess you would say. The one I'm most intrigued of outside of this Michigan game is Oregon State at Oregon. Oregon, a 13.5 point home favorite, over under 62.5. I think Oregon might be the best team in the country. I also think Oregon State's going to cover, but the 13.5 kind of scares me. I'd like to have it at 14, I think.
I am with you on Oregon right now. I think we talked about this over the weekend. There's one team I don't think anyone wants to play right now. It is Oregon. And if not for Dan Lanning going Dan Campbell a la 2021 in the Washington game, that team would be undefeated right now. They're the best. You talk about teams peaking at the right time. I think Oregon's a wagon, and I think they'll cover.
Iron Bowl, Alabama at Auburn. Auburn is... I have that written wrong. Auburn is a 14.5 point underdog, so it should be plus 14.5. Over under is 48.5. That is my bad on that. Auburn loses to New Mexico. Was it New Mexico or New Mexico State? I think it was New Mexico. Jerry Kill. I think
it was New Mexico State. I'm not sure. I know Andre Seldon was on the opposing team.
Jerry Kill wins the game. I know that. It was New Mexico State. You are right. Jerry Kill, Hugh Freeze couldn't be different, more different individuals, I will say. I got Auburn covering the 14.5. The Iron Bowl is weird, especially when it's at Auburn, and it just makes way too much sense that they got blown out by New Mexico State and that they're going to cover, at least against Alabama.
It feels like Alabama's due for a bit of a scare. And 14.5 points, that's still a decent amount of points for a rivalry game. I really think Auburn stinks, though. I'm going to go with Alabama. I'm not confident about it, but I do think Alabama will win. It's another team that's played its best ball over the last few weeks.
let's finish with not a pick on one side or the other, but as we've done a couple times throughout the year, the Iowa Nebraska over under. It's down to 26.5. It's got to be, if not the lowest in history, one of the lowest, because I think it was right around here and it was the lowest a few weeks ago in one of the Iowa games. They continue to defy the laws of football. Just give me the under because it's way more fun to watch and way more funny. And I don't know how much I will watch, so it's not that bad when you just kind of tracking the score and you see 3-2 or 2-0.
Man, this is tricky
Friday,
for
by
me
the way.
because
Too.
this is tricky for me because I've been taking the Iowa over unders and I've been dipping them down to 26.5. So now that we're at 26.5, I'm like, ugh, I want to buck the trend and say over, but barely. Like this is a 14-13 game or something like that, which is it's crazy that that's enough. We just did a game 2 picks ago that was 62.5. This is what I'm not good at math. Half of that, less than
It's a
half of
different
that.
sport. It's a different sport.
I mean, this is and I was playing for a Big Ten title next weekend. That's insane.
They're locked
So
in.
yeah, I can't wait to see it in person one more time. Let's screw it. I changed my pick. Let's go under.
Come on, you got to. So, all right, we're both on the under there.